Hi, I'm Jo from J.H.Leather, and in this video I'm going to show you how to hand stitch leather. Let's get started. So a quick comparison with machine stitching versus hand stitching. So with machine stitching, it's two lengths of thread, and basically they sort of twist in the middle of the leather to create the stitch. So you'll notice on your clothes, if you have a loose thread and you pull at it, you can have a whole sort of length of stitching becomes unstitched. That is because it is made up of two lengths of thread. So with hand stitching, where it's one length of thread, basically each stitch is an individual stitch, so if one breaks, it's not going to unravel because each stitch is individual, which is why hand stitching for leather work is just great, because if you're on a dog collar and that it gets a lot of wear, it's not going to come unstitched. Right, so on to our hand stitching. So this exercise is sort of one that I do with students, and basically we're going to take a scrap bit of leather and square the ends. And we're also going to nick the corners. So once you've squared your ends, you then want to number one edge all the way around the grain side of your leather. And then once you've done that, we can now stain the edges and polish them. And so once you're done staining, you can crease all the way around your leather. So you basically need to hit your creaser up and then just draw a line around your sample. And once you've done that, you want to set your dividers to your stitch marking width. Mine are usually around 1/4 of an inch. And then you can draw all the way around your sample. So on to stitching. So I use a number 7 pricking iron, so that's 7 stitches per inch is what I use for most of my dog collars and belts and that sort of thing. You can also use the diamond chisels, which are made to go all the way through. It is just up to you what you have and what sort of irons you use. So once you're done stitch marking, you want to cut yourself a length of thread. So I usually do about a double arm's length, and then with some beeswax you just want to sort of run the thread through this. So this adds a layer of protection to the thread, especially if it is linen, and it also smooths down any sort of loose fibres. So once you've run your thread through the wax a few times, you can then just run it through your fingers to really work the beeswax into your thread. And now we want to start threading. So we're going to lock our thread onto the needle. So first of all, you want to put just about an inch or so of that thread through the eye of the needle. And then we're actually going to put the needle through the thread itself so we can lock it on. So we're going to do this twice, so we're going to have like a little S shape. Like what I have here, and then basically we need to move all that down the needle and then sort of over the end of the eye, and that will lock our thread onto our needle so it won't fall off. And we're going to do the same on the other end. So we're going to put the thread through the eye of the needle, about an inch or so of the way through, and then the sort of long end of the thread, we're going to put the needle through that twice, make a little S shape, and then pull the whole lot down over the eye of the needle so it's all locked on there. So onto the stitching. So we're going to start with a back stitch, which once you've sort of seen this video a few times and you understand the technique, it will make a bit more sense. So basically we do a back stitch to lock the thread in place, especially if you're going on to doing buckle turns and stuff like that. You'll need to do a back stitch to get the ends of your leather together. Right, so like I said, you may need to watch the video a few times to get the technique, but basically what we want to do is all through our hole from the right hand side first. And then we're going to follow that through with the needle from the left. Once your left hand needle is sort of part way through, you want to basically make a little cross with your right hand needle underneath and pull that out, and then you can sort of turn with your hands and put that right hand needle that made up the T of the cross back through. And then you want to pop the tail of your thread over that needle, and then you can pull tight and pull your needle through. So that is the basic technique. As like I said, you might need to watch this a few times just to get the technique right. It is a bit confusing to start with, and if you find it hard stitching with an awl in your hand, you can maybe awl a few, or if you've got your diamond pricking irons and you've awled all the way through, you might not even need an awl at all. So just to recap, we awl through from the right, follow through the left with a needle, make a cross with our right hand needle, put our right hand needle through, and then put the tail end of the thread over the needle. So by doing that, it makes sure that the stitches all sort of slant the same way. And so if you need to change your thread because you've run out and you're stitching a long distance, or you just come to finish your actual stitching, you need to do 1.5 back stitches. And so what this is literally we're going to go 1 whole stitch back, and then with our right hand needle we're going to go back through just with that one, so for the half. And what this does is just locks the stitches in place, and it also makes sure that both threads are on the back side of what we are stitching. And so once you've done that, you can then trim the threads off. And so if you're going to start a new bit of stitching, you would start with 1 back stitch and carry on, or if that was the end of your stitching, then you would go on to do your finishing touches. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe for more videos and tutorials. Also, make sure you hit the bell button to get notified every time I post a new video. And I'll see you in the next episode.